Is introversion better than extroversion? This book, Quiet by Susan Cain, gives an example on page 149 of a study that was done about introverted guppies versus extroverted guppies. Yes, actually. The question is whether or not it is good to be a shy animal or a bold animal. Turns out the answer is it depends. In times of famine, it is advantageous to be aggressive. You are more likely to survive if you're willing to fight people for the scarce number of resources. But in times of plenty, if there are more than enough resources to go around, fighting each other unnecessarily destroys your population in a way that harms the entire subgroup of the species. Introversion itself isn't good or bad, just like extroversion itself isn't good or bad. Most of our personality traits are morally neutral. Why does this matter? Well, for one, if you're an introvert in an extroverted world, you might be told repeatedly that your personality is deficient and you need to get out of your shell and you need to change to fit into the extroverted world. If you feel that way, this book Quiet is for you. I've put it in my reading list. But there's actually a more pernicious and important philosophical underpinning to this concept. Biologically, many of our traits are morally neutral. It is better to be short if you want to be a gymnast. It is better to be tall if you want to be a swimmer with long arms. There is no ideal body because our ideals exist in a context. And I don't want to be too dramatic, but rejecting this concept of an ideal body and recognizing the biological reality that certain traits are more advantageous in certain contexts, taking that stance is actually an anti-eugenic understanding of the world. If you're unfamiliar with the concept of eugenics, either of these three books will help introduce you to the concept. In summary, it is the idea that there are ideal forms of humanity and everyone else is, though I hesitate to say it, degenerate or less evolved and therefore should be exterminated and or forcibly sterilized. If that sounds horrifying, it's because the concept of eugenics, the concept of an ideal body, an ideal person, is at the root of some of the most terrible philosophies in the last few hundred years. And to be extremely clear, lest you think this is something from the days of old, there are examples of courts and judges upholding eugenicist policies and forced sterilizations as recently as 2017. This isn't just part of our history, it's part of our present. There is no ideal personality, there is no ideal body. All of these are in my reading list if you want to learn more.